So this is Cardad, and I decided to start this video at the end instead of the beginning. So if you don't want to watch my journey through LED headlight installation, I would go ahead and give you that information on what I learned. This is from ordering LEDs from Amazon, and again, they're manufactured by a variety of Chinese companies. They worked half the time, and the time they did work, that's not perfect. So on the Mini Cooper, the installation was not terribly easy. I learned that orientation mattered, orientation of the LEDs. They don't necessarily have a 360 degree spread of light like halogens. And because of the Mini Cooper's diagnostics, the dashboard, it tells me that the headlights are out even though they're working. Now that said, the headlights work great. The white light shows more color, it's brighter, seems to go further. I'm going to go ahead and keep the Mini Cooper with the LED lights. I tried to install them in this car, the Scion. And again, those cars are only a few years different. The different mounting systems, but again, the designs of the LEDs are pretty much the same. It would not fit in this car, even fit well enough to try them out and see how orientation mattered. It's up to you whether you want to try to install them. If it works, they work great. But again, 50% of my trial and error ended up in error. So here's the rest of the story. Hi, this is Cardad. Someone asked me about LED headlights the other day, and not knowing a lot about them, I went ahead and got a pair, and this is a 2008 Mini. The headlights are halogen. They're pretty warm. They're not terribly bright. They probably hover around 3,500 to 4,000 Kelvin. The lower the K or Kelvin, the warmer the light. The whiter the lights, apparently, the more colors you see. LED lights promise a higher color range. The lights we got advertise that they run around 6,000 K. 6,000 K is pretty white. One thing I'm going to look for once I have them in is, are they going to blind the other driver? How bright they are, the colors, and we'll find out once they're in. So what you get in a box, this is what I bought. Inside the box, you've got your installation instructions. You've got, came with, looks like intermediary connectors, and then you have the lights themselves. They're a pretty cool kit. It's interesting to have a fan on the back side. You've got a bank of LEDs on one side and a bank of LEDs on the other side. There's definitely an orientation that works better than the other. Something to think about. Now, this mount allows it to be mounted in 3 positions. Compare that to an LED bulb where the light is projected pretty much 360 degrees. Those are the LEDs on the front. Looks like some kind of, that may be a transformer, and then a connector on the back side. It looked like they come in a bunch of different mounts, and depending on the mount, they change out this part. So they're not universal. You have to make sure they fit your car. The instruction manual I found, definitely written by someone whose first language is not English. It's pretty understandable, but again, it's universal, so it's not specific to the Mini. So let's see how it goes. You can see the difference in construction between the LED and the halogen. The LED has 2 banks of LEDs. And if you look at the halogen, it's similar to a light bulb. It's got 2 filaments in there. You can imagine that light comes out 360 degrees on this bulb, and on the LEDs it comes out of two sides. And this is the unique bracket holder for this particular car that came with the unit. So I have one of them in. You can see how warm that is, how cool that is. And then those are the projections. You can tell the LED is pretty darn bright. The cutoff is very similar. The manufacturer suggested rotating the LEDs to 3 and 6 o'clock, but I rotated them 90 degrees. You can see on the left is a nice cutoff. On the right, which is where I adjusted it 90 degrees, it's all scattered. See how nice that pattern is? And you kind of see how scattered this is. That's interesting. It seems to be okay if it's oriented where the LEDs are positioned at 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Doesn't work so well if it doesn't work very well if they're positioned at 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. So I've installed both lights, both LEDs. It's a nice bright white. The cutoff seems to be the same. I believe it's brighter. So I noticed that the brights weren't coming on. And I looked in the box, and what I thought was the adapter cable is actually a fix for the brights. And that is this cable here. So that's something I had to sort, and the brights seem to come on. I did notice that the Mini is not seeing the headlights, and I'm reading the instruction manual. Gotta put my glasses. Yeah, car dad wears glasses. And it says, if the LED headlight bulb and fan do not work after installation, if you have any problem, please contact us. We will resolve your issue instantly. It also says when you install the lights and find lights flickering or not turn on, it may be caused by different current. Because our energy efficient LED headlights require less current than halogen or xenon headlamps, you need to install a pair of decoders to solve the problem. What I'm going to do is get in touch with them, see if they respond instantly and can solve that problem. This is Car Dad trying out the headlights. They're very bright. That's good. I think it works pretty well. You can tell that the pattern is pretty good. Got a good wide So after some back and forth between the seller or supplier, they sent what they're calling an LED warning canceller that I need to attach in between the power source and the LEDs. So we're going to try that out. Well, I tried what the supplier suggested, and now it still doesn't see the headlights, and one side has brights and the other side doesn't. So I'm going to put it back the way it was. At least it worked. The computer still won't see the headlights on. I had so many issues with putting LED lights in my Mini Cooper. The Mini was fussy, but ultimately the light output is much better than the halogen, so it's worth it. I just thought I'd try it in the Scion and see if the install was easier, it's less fussy, and the output was just as good. It doesn't have that sophisticated diagnostic display on the dash. It doesn't sense whether your light bulb is out. So I'm hoping it's an easier install and works just as well in terms of the light output as the Mini. So this is what I ordered. Again, there's all kinds of distributors, manufacturers on Amazon. I'm not quite sure why we chose this. It's still around $50, $60. This is what you get in the kit. 2 of these, pretty much plug and play. This is why orientation is still maybe going to be a problem. We'll find out. But essentially what you do for this particular mount, the mount separates from the light assembly. This is what the light assembly looks like. And it simply slides in here. And there's no index. So this thing can rotate in any position you want. I think that might be a problem, but because I can project it against this garage door, and I'm going to do one side, match it to the other side, it should work okay. We'll find out. This is what makes me so angry. These guys should have tested this before I went to all this trouble. So this is the bulb, and this is how it fits in there. You can see it gets indexed by those notches in there. It sits in there like that. And then this spring comes down, right, and it holds it in place. It's not that hard to get in and out, but, and then it's capped with this rubber bit that goes over it like that. And that's what seals it. This connector here plugs in there, right? So let's take this out. And so what they tell you to do is to put this collar in place, put the spring in place, right? It's all well and good. So that's securely mounted. So the first thing I notice is there's no way that this rubber bit is going to fit over this fan. You can't press this in far enough because it's bumping up against the spring. There's no way that they've allowed clearance for that spring and this fan to fit on there. It's pretty disappointing. You would have hoped that they would have tried this out before sending it to me, and then I'm the one who's actually product testing it. That sucks. So it's up to you whether you want to try to install them. If it works, they work great. But again, 50% of my trial and error ended up in error. Happy travels. I'm hungry.